I don't even know where to start with this. I've had enough strange experiences over the years that I could probably write a book about them, and maybe one day I will. But looking back, one particular experience stands out as one of the most enlightening, and one of the hardest to explain. At the time, I was talking about these experiences to anyone who was willing to listen. Maybe too much. I was obsessed with trying to understand what was happening to me, and I felt the strong urge to tell other people about it. Looking back now, I've become a lot more reserved. Opening up about this kind of thing can get you mocked, dismissed, or treated like you're crazy. But back then, I talked about it constantly. And here's where things started getting strange. The more I spoke about these experiences, the more of them seemed to happen. Whether that was coincidence, confirmation bias, or something else entirely, I still don't know. But one night made me seriously question everything. And what happened wasn't witnessed by just me. There was someone else there too. One night, sometime around 3 or 4 in the morning, I drove a guy named Adam home from a friend's apartment. That wasn't unusual for us. At that point in my life, my sleep schedule was completely backwards. I was regularly staying awake until sunrise and sleeping until late afternoon. When we got to his house, we weren't ready to call it a night. We stood in the driveway, talking and smoking for a while. The neighbourhood was quiet. The roads were empty. Everything felt completely normal. Then suddenly, it wasn't. Without warning, an intensely bright light appeared over a hill less than a mile away from where we were standing. Both of us noticed it immediately. There was something about it that demanded attention. Neither of us could look away. And that's when I noticed something even stranger. Because when I finally forced myself to stop staring at the light and look around, I saw movement above us. 2 glowing orbs. They weren't travelling in a straight line. They seemed to be pivoting around one another, almost as if they were interacting. I pointed them out to Adam. He saw them too. And at that moment, I had a bizarre thought. I remember saying that it almost felt like the bright light has been shown to us intentionally, like something was trying to see how we'd react. That sounds ridiculous, even saying it now, but that's genuinely how it felt. So we did something completely absurd. We waved. And what happened next is something I've never forgotten, because the sky came alive. Suddenly, what had looked like an empty night sky was filled with movement. Lights appeared everywhere. Not 1 or 2. Dozens. There must have been 3 dozen orbs moving in different directions. Some crossed paths, some hovered. Others seemed to streak across the horizon at impossible speeds. It was as if an entire world had suddenly become visible. For a few moments, all we could do was stand there and watch. Neither of us knew what to say. Neither of us had an explanation. All I know is that it felt significant. It felt bigger than seeing lights in the sky. It felt almost spiritual. And that wasn't the last time something happened. Not even close. A while later, I was sitting on a friend's back porch. He lived near me and shared the same fascination with the topic. We spent countless hours discussing UFOs, strange sightings, and all the theories that surrounded them. Most of the conversation led nowhere. This one didn't. As we sat there talking, we noticed a bright light moving across the sky. At first, it didn't seem extraordinary, but then we realised just how low it was. Maybe only a few hundred yards away. It wasn't making a sound. It wasn't flashing. It wasn't behaving like an aircraft. It simply drifted. Slowly. Silently. As we watched, it began growing brighter and brighter and brighter, until eventually it became so intense that we couldn't comfortably look directly at it. The colour was a deep orange, almost glowing. Then, after hanging there for a few seconds, it began to fade, slowly, maybe deliberately, until it disappeared completely. The two of us just stared at each other. Neither of us had any idea what we'd just witnessed. But that wasn't the only time. The same thing happened again, and then again, which is where the story takes a turn that even I struggle to explain, because eventually people started making fun of me, and honestly, I can't blame them. If someone told me these stories without evidence, I'd probably be sceptical too. One night, we were trying to explain the orb sightings to a couple of friends. Naturally, they didn't believe us. The conversation turned into jokes, the usual reactions. Then, for reasons I don't fully understand, I got cocky. I looked at them and said, "You want to see a UFO? Come over here." I don't know why I said it. I had no reason to think anything would happen. No confidence that I could somehow summon anything. It was just a stupid thing to say. But they followed us out onto the porch. We stood there, waiting. And then it happened. The same orange light appeared again. The same slow movement. The same brightening. The same fade into darkness. And for once, I wasn't the only witness. The people who had been laughing moments earlier had seen it for themselves. To this day, I don't know what that light was. I only know that it was there, more than once, and more than one person saw it. Over the years, I've spent a lot of time thinking about these experiences, trying to understand them, trying to figure out why they happened, and maybe most importantly, why they seem to happen around me. After my first major sighting, the one involving multiple crafts, I immediately started researching. I wanted answers. I wanted a framework that could explain what I'd seen. That's when I stumbled across something called the Raelian belief system. Some people refer to it as a form of intelligent design involving extraterrestrials. The basic idea is that advanced extraterrestrial beings seeded human life on Earth through genetic manipulation. According to the belief, humanity will eventually become advanced enough to do the same elsewhere in the universe. The concept overlaps heavily with the ancient astronaut theory. The idea that extraterrestrials may have influenced human civilization throughout history. The origin story is fascinating. A man named Rael claimed that during the 1970s he encountered a UFO that landed near a dormant volcano. According to him, a small humanoid being emerged from the craft and explained that many of humanity's religions originated from misunderstandings of extraterrestrial contact. Now, I'm not saying I believe any of this, but when you start looking at certain stories through that lens, it's easy to see why some people find it compelling. Stories of chariots in the sky, prophets being taken into the heavens, mysterious lights guiding people through the wilderness. Viewed one way, they're religious events. Viewed another, they're something entirely different. The part that caught my attention most wasn't the ancient history. It was something else. According to Riel's account, these beings claimed that many major spiritual figures throughout history were influenced through direct thought implantation. That ideas, beliefs and revelations could be placed into a person's mind. Again, whether that's true or not is another discussion entirely. But one detail kept nagging at me, because throughout my own experiences, the more I spoke about what had happened, the more experiences seemed to occur. almost as if discussing it invited more of it into my life. Was that psychological? Coincidence? Pattern seeking? Or something else? I genuinely don't know. And after all these years, I still don't have the answers. Only stories, experiences, questions, and a growing collection of memories that seem stranger every time I revisit them. Maybe there's a perfectly ordinary explanation for everything. Maybe there isn't. But if there's one thing I've learnt from all of this, it's that the more you think you understand what's happening, the stranger things become. If this story kept you listening until the end, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. We release new videos twice a week, Thursdays and Sundays, between 1800 and 2000 BST. And before you go, the truth is often scarier than fiction.